Hi, good morning, good evening. Thanks for joining the webinar this evening. This is Krishna Chekuri from Silotech. Um, Basically, the topic of the webinar today is just wanted to briefly go over the product, the test automation platform that we have developed in-house at Silotech, and go over the main core features what TestEnsure has to offer. Okay, so again, let me just quickly highlight a few things before I jump into TestEnsure. So test automation, I know pretty much everyone in the IT side of business or in the other side of the board using the applications know that every application that has developed and deployed into production, having some users using the application with some features, functionality, goes through in the SDLC. It goes through the life cycle of testing as well. Excuse me. So typically, traditionally, it is done manually, and of course, it's a lot of intensive testing happens, and a lot of time and efforts, manual work has to be done in order to test through the scenarios, identify the scenarios of the function, test all the functions, features, functionalities, whatsoever, right? And then some great people came on board and started automating. Why can't we automate this manual effort? And created multiple platforms, a lot of platforms out there, frameworks, I mean to say, based on their experiences and the type of the framework that they worked on, and the application built on the technological footprints. Different kind of frameworks have been developed, and then there are open source and there are paid products as well out there that have been used pretty much. Most of the mature organizations use test automation, or at least in the mix, some manual and some automation kind of thing. So we have done so much of test automation as from practice perspective. We did managed services as well, where we have helped the clients or manage their testing a portion of the software development cycle, right? So with enormous experience with multiple projects, and we have gained a lot of experience, and we have also came across a lot of gaps using the open source platforms as well. And we thought, okay, why can't we come up with our own platform with using the open source frameworks, and fill in the gaps that we have identified across multiple projects, where we can increase our efficiencies, testing efficiencies. So that's how TestEnsure is born, right? That's the initiation of TestEnsure. Basically, TestEnsure, it's a low code hybrid framework, I would say, which is a more readable, maintainable, reusable framework. And on top of that, it has all the integrations that are required to have the test automation run and smoothly. So it consists of utility functions, properties, TestNG, and annotations, and all kind of assertions what you might have. And we can do a lot of parameterization using an Excel, then or a JSON, different input files based on the requirement. Then you can capture the screenshots for audit tracking, and also for the development team to look at and do the troubleshooting and fix the issues and so on and so forth. So lot of these things are test ensure functionalities, features are built in, right? So at the end of the day, all these things are enabling users to derive quantifiable benefits, be it time to market, or be it smaller backlog of issues, or reduce costs, because you don't need so many people doing manual testing. Rather we can focus on other things, and automation can run on its own with less number of people. And of course, the biggest thing, one of the coverage, testing coverage, then fault isolations, then more reliability, because you are manual testing traditionally happens. When it happens, then it's this reliability is not there, because every time you're manually doing it, you have a different approach, or different person does these follows the scenarios differently. So this is more sequential, or what you call more reliable way of execution, and faster release times, which is because it will enable you to execute these tests parallelly, so using the grid and all that, and that will reduce your time to market, right? So a lot of complexities have been addressed, and this helps in many ways. So that's kind of a very high level. So for that, we have built a center of excellence, which we call TestEnsure Center of Excellence, and this framework is corely this platform is corely based on a lot of things. Like the core thing what we have here are the accelerators, that what we call, because these will reduce the time to start automation. So if the company is doing an application testing, be it ERP, or dispute management system, or any e-commerce application, or banking, what have you, or Oracle, you have you have lesser time. We can come up to speed, and once you embrace or have TestEnsure, it will have lesser time to automate. What I mean to say here is, we have something called the process accelerators, that will reduce the automation time. So, and then there's so much of plugins that we have already integrated, and there are a lot of artifacts. Say we have lot for ERPs, we have like Info or Oracle, or other ERPs, SAP. There are something called pre-built test scripts, or which are actually the regular out-of-the-box functionality that we have already automated, so that we can plug in very easily. And what all customizations that company has done to their application ERP, can be added on top of it. So it will be quicker time to market again. It doesn't take 6 months for the say for the whole cycle. It might take a month. So I mean, just in comparison. So that is one of the core advantage having TestEnsure. Of course, time to market, test coverage is one of the core areas, and then reliable way of testing. So moving ahead. So as I said, the framework, it is a hybrid framework, and it has all the integrations that are needed for report generation, for taking the screenshots, the test execution time, errors, the version control integration, then of course the CI/CD. So it is a data driven basically, when I say data-driven, keyword-driven framework built on and then it can we can have the multiple times of testing or multiple data sets that has to be created for each execution can be eliminated, because the data can be maintained in a different formats, or it can be dynamically retrieved from the application or API with an API call, or from a data set in a data connecting it to a database, what have you. So it can again so what it really means is, we have the data layer separate and the navigation separate. So what happens here is, when you are moving typically from the application from one environment to another, it becomes agnostic. So you can execute in dev, you can execute in QA1, QA2, or a UAT environment, and then you can execute in a prod back. I mean, the flexibility is tremendous there. So you have so many it's features, and then maintenance will be reduced a lot, right? So when I talk about TestEnsure, it is a platform with the framework underneath, and then it has a user self-service UI, right? So when application IT, and which can be used by all the project team members, be it from the business side or from the analysts, or the developers, the testers, automation team, and the management as well. Get access to the user interface application based on and then they have the different roles, be like for as a viewer or executor or an admin. So three different roles. So once you log in, you based on your role, you'll be given the project access to a particular project or projects, and then user can based on again the role, can quickly create a release, select the project for that release, then select the module that they want to execute for the upcoming release, and then they can schedule it, the execution, or run an ad hoc execution run. So it gives you the flexibility of say I want to execute a nightly basis site, right? So that can be achieved. Or I want to execute just now, just in time, that can be achieved as well. So that flexibility it has offering, and then it is a SaaS based as well, and multi-tenant offering that we have. So it can be either again on-prem or on cloud. So we have users using on the both sides of the spectrum. So and then the other feature that you have, one execution happened, and then obviously you come back and take a look and see there are some certain things have failed. Then obviously it can be quickly redone based on what has failed. So again, if you have a test suite with 200 test cases, right, and you don't have to really execute all 200 test cases all over again. So that will reduce your execution time by using a rerun to execute the fail test. Of course, the fail tests are also dependency will be there. Basically, you cannot. In order to execute certain scenario, if there is some dependency test case that has to be executed, of course that will be executed as well. And then mostly the important feature of TestEnsure, one of them is also tagging, right? So what I mean to say when I say tagging is tagging. So every test case has is identified. It has an identifier that we call tag. So whether so that's a module name can be a tag, smoke test can be a tag, or anything that enables to identify a particular test case is a tag. and each test case can be assigned multiple tags. What I mean to say here is, so a real-time example is we have one of the finance gateway customer that we have has 8,000 regression test cases across the board, right? And then you have a release upcoming. So you have minor release and the major release. So major release, you execute everything. For minor release, only for the modules that have been enhanced or bug fixed or whatnot. So you don't have so you have reduced, so that way you can release quickly, release in greater frequencies. So this tagging feature enables that so that you want to identify, you want to execute only the smoke test, you can execute that, and then it picks and chooses only the tagged identifier and then execute those test cases. So that way you are not executing 200 test cases for each module. You are just executing only 20. So it is like surgical strike. So it's just very local, very localized and impactful. So that's one of the feature. And then of course the reporting, it has integration with a report portal, where upon completion of the execution, it goes into by click of the button, you click on the view results, and you can see clearly how many test cases have been passed, failed, and then go through the error screenshots and what kind of where it failed and what step it failed, so on and so forth. So which will help to reduce the troubleshooting time. Okay. So that's very high level again. And then forgot to mention about the UI, and it has also the dashboard feature where you can users can see based on their role in the organization. So for management, they don't want to see the what exactly the failure is. They are more interested in, for this release, how many executions happen, and how many what is the trend of the executions results, whether what is the what you call health of the release. So are we on track or are we lagging behind? And also it will enable to give the data so that can be used for predictability in the future. So where is the weakest link? So that kind of predictability can also be provided using the historical data. So those are some of the things that are available. Of course, I can go in depth, and maybe in other webinar sessions I can pick and choose based on the interest of the audience and inputs that we receive. We can go in depth particular thing, and also we can have a live demo how it works as well. So again, the feature set, core features, again, it's a test requirements management. Basically, that UI, it has you upload the project, the test cases file, the test data, then the user stories, and the tags, all that stuff, all that will be it will work as a one-stop shop for test management, right? And then low-code test library, which will speed up your maintenance and upcoming executions. Again, cross-browser testing, so on and so forth. Then scalable parallel execution I talked about. You have 5 different projects that we are going through for the release. We can execute. It will enable to execute parallelly using the grid, right? So grid concept. Then the dashboards and traceability, I've went through those where it shows it can give you different widgets where provide you different types of dashboards, be it maximum number of bugs per release, higher number of bugs in particular modules, so on and so forth. So you can slice and dice the data accordingly. Analytics, that's what I was mentioning as well. And then role-based, it's role-based and tagging, we talked about tagging as well. So moving ahead. So the framework again, I think we talked about the framework as well from this slide previously as well. How what all things that we have. It's a data-driven, keyword-driven, plug and play with basically you have the two separate things of navigation versus validation, and if there's some change in the test case, if a particular button got added or some workflow got added into the flow, existing flow, it's you don't have to redo everything. So all these we have the common methods and generic methods. So everything is more or less generic, and then we made it more usable and reusable across the board for the application. And then those navigation steps can just be added to the JSON, or typically JSON or any other way we do. It will enable, so all the data can be separated, and then the navigation is separated. So it is very quick to update, and then boom, you go. You just execute like in, say, if something like that, for example, happens, you can do all that like in, say, less than 30 minutes or so. So which is really helpful in agile space, where you have every 2 week to every sprint you have releases, and then you have minor, you have majors, or you have emergency patch or emergency fixes. So it will be helpful to execute. Then most importantly is the CI/CD, right? So CI/CD, without all this, what I'm talking about is not possible without CI/CD. So it's a backbone of the modern DevOps environment. You can think without which we cannot have on-demand releases. So it's basically we have the pipeline built to the Jenkins, and then you have the execution server, and then when the code is basically checked in, automatically a smoke suite will be executed, and then upon that execution, if it is pass fail based on the result, it will kick off the module, whatever module that needs to be executed, or the whole suite of test cases that need to be executed. So based on that, what you want, you can pick and choose, and that it's seamless execution. And then obviously upon execution, all the results are available in the form of reports for troubleshooting, for management, and and then it can be promoted to production, or other from dev to QA to UAT, so on and so forth. So that's on the high level. Again, different kind of validations, be it data validation, be it API calls or whatnot. So that being said, where a TestEnsure would fit in, right? So we can start, from based on the company maturity of in the test automation space, where they might be having majority of execution happening it manually, some of it in automation. So typically how we do is, we can come in, or we can have a test ensure set up, and then we can pick and choose whatever the high impact test scenarios or whatnot, and then we can do it as a one execution of that, and then we can increase the go across the board and increase or add to the automation to the regression suite, right? So slowly first, it cannot be built in a day again, right? So there's no silver bullet here. We are providing this platform will enable with all the maximum benefits, enable the test automation, and reduce the release cycles, reduce the backlog, so on and so forth. So across the board over a period of time. and then it can be used by either Salutech can provide that services, or we can help your team also train and then how to use it. So it can be used. Not everyone has to be purely technical to use the application, to use TestEnsure. As you can see, it's a self-service UI with most of can be used by developers or automation people, or even business analysts. So execution thing and all can be done. For maintenance, maybe there might be some training required, and that can be really picked up easily by any person having a minimal test automation experience or development experience. Okay. So again, one more last, but not the least, is the integration with the third party. So it can integrate with the Jira, Bugzilla. So you can have the reports, bug reports. Of course, TestEnsure itself is not a defect management system. It will only provide the issues, lists the issues, and it can be integrated to the defect management system, where you can associate the issue to a particular defect. Again, build and release management, test management, data management. Again, it can be any SQL or Excel or in CSV or other database. Then infrastructure environment. Again, it's Selenium Grid, Browser Stack, Sauce Lab, Agile Designer, Connectall, Neoload, so on and so forth. It connects to any version control. As a matter of fact, Git, GitLab, GitHub, Subversion, whatnot, whatever is available in the organization, whatever they are following. So that's pretty much a very high level of overview of TestEnsure that I wanted to provide today to the audience. Hope you have understood what TestEnsure has to offer, and any questions, please, in this session, I'm happy to answer. If there is something that we can take it up late also, or you can send me a note, we'll answer that as well. And also we can provide, as I mentioned earlier, provide you with the product demo as well, a real world demo, and we can go through the details as well. Thank you very much. Yeah.